We're staying on this issue because the Acting Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Asiedu-Dartey, wants Ghana to consider the production of marijuana for export. Now, Selim Amenyo has been speaking to him about his call. Let's listen to him.
There's been varied opinions about the use and also legalization of marijuana in Ghana. We've had notable personalities such as the former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan and also former NACOP boss Akresi Sapon adding their voice to that. One person who has joined his voice to this call is the Acting Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority. I'm talking about Professor Asiedu-Dartey. We are here to get more answers. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, TV3, and good afternoon, viewers and listeners, since it may be on radio. At the Public Accounts Committee hearing yesterday, the chairman of the committee, Honorable James Kluche Aveji, asked a public interest question, and I would repeat his question so that viewers would be able to discern. His question was direct: that what are my views as stated on the program on the legalization of marijuana? And my answer is simple, and that is what I want Ghanaians to know. I did make a point that a lot of hair products in the country, or some hair products rather, do contain hemp. It could be cannabis. And the point I made was that people should realize that if you have cannabis in your hair products, that cannabis can get into your body and be absorbed. So you might be singing hallelujah thinking that you are lifted by the spirits, but it's the cannabis which is in the hair cream that has gone into your body unknowingly to you. So I was cautioning against its use. The discussion then went on to ask about my views, or rather my views on the legalization of marijuana came up. And here are my views, both personally and in my position, that one, the use of all forms of marijuana in Ghana is illegal. Several countries across the world have either decriminalized marijuana or made it legal. They are two separate concepts, but long and short is that you are not punished for possessing it. And this includes several states in the United States of America. Canada has joined the fray. The first country actually was Uruguay in 2014, Spain, Portugal, Romania, among others.
Well, you talk about economic potentials. What are these that you think that the country can harness?
Marijuana or cannabis is a product now where several countries have decriminalized, and there will be a demand for it. It's a product which grows naturally and wildly here. It's a product that can be exported to destinations where there is a demand. My view is that as a country, we should have a debate, and that is what the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee said. He said, it's a debate I have started, and he thinks the debate should continue. My view is that the debate on the production and export legally of marijuana, should the laws of Ghana be amended to permit it, that debate should be had. Why? Marijuana is a product which, based on which jurisdiction you are, is legal for medicinal use and in some areas for social use. If there is a market out there for a product that we have in Ghana, if that product could be standardized, produced, certified to meet the requirements of the importing country, and if our government wants to take advantage of it, I will support it. I will support it and encourage it. Because at the end of the day, whereas there is no medical need for this product in this country, if there is a medical need for it in other jurisdictions, and their laws allow its importation through appropriate channels, why should we say no?
Do you think we'll be able to regulate it, looking at the fact that it is still even illegal, but we have drug users abusing it?
If the Republic of Ghana, acting through its parliament and the executive, were to permit the production of any product, including marijuana for exports, there will be safeguards. One, in countries, and a notable one is the UK, where it is produced and sold on prescription, there are safeguards. You have the whole place where it's been produced guarded. It is given the same protection as you give to any precious commodity, be they gold, oil, or water. So, the first thing is, one, let's have that debate. Two, let's see what Parliament's views are on the production for export of marijuana in its various forms. If these two hurdles are overcome and the Republic of Ghana gives the right, we as a standards body are willing to work with the countries where they'll be exported to develop appropriate standards and ensure that this product can be exported so that we gain the economic potential of that product.
All right, so you heard it all. You must do it to the best possible standards. I've been speaking to the Acting Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Asiedu-Dartey. So from the headquarters of the Ghana Standards Authority here in Accra, Seloma Menya, TV3 News.
And this is the news hub here at Kanda in Accra also. And we've been listening to Professor Asiedu-Dartey. He is the acting chief executive of Ghana Standards Authority. And he's just kick-started this conversation as to what we can gain as a country from the use of marijuana. Is that the way we should go? Is his advice what we should listen? Let's quickly go onto Skype and speak to the African consultant of the International Drug Policy Consortium, Marianne Goretti Aniloglo. She just joined me on Skype. Good afternoon, and grateful for your time with us.
Good afternoon.
So great. Let's begin from here. The calls that he's made, is that what we need?
I think it's even long overdue that Ghana considers this position, and I'm really happy that we have somebody like Professor Dodu coming on board, especially being a researcher and talking about this situation. And I absolutely agree with him that it is time for us to have an honest, open debate about this cannabis use and the need for decriminalization, as well as looking at the economic benefits of it.
I see. For the person running on the streets or walking on the street of Accra, Ghana, it will be strange to convince him or her that we have economic benefits and we should allow people, we should decriminalize the use of marijuana. How would you do that?
You see, that is why I said that we need get on board the grassroots to understand the discussion. Now, if you look at the three conventions, that's the global drug conventions that govern legislations around drugs, the 1961, 71, and the 88 convention. There are several things that are permissible within that convention, and one of which Professor Dodu talked about, that is medicinal use of cannabis, as well as decriminalization to some degree is allowed within the convention. So for me, I think that Ghana, in the first place, will have to hold an honest discussion around the decriminalization discussion as well as the economic discussion. You know, we have always made arguments to the effect that if you decriminalize, you're going to create a field day for people to use drugs and all sorts of arguments that are coming up. Right. But you see, that has always been a mix-up in terms of legalization and decriminalization. Decriminalization is simply saying that if I am using the drug or I am possessing it to use it, why should criminal sanctions be slapped on me for using the drug? Now, what we need to also understand is that problematic users just make up about 20% of people who use drugs. Majority of them are just recreational users. And so if the argument is that to take away criminal sanctions against minor or non-violent offenses against people who use drugs. And so there's no point taking people who use drugs to prison and leaving them there for 5 good years. They come back and they are even worse off than they've gone in because most of them go into prison and they learn a whole lot of criminal activities and come out as worse than they went in. Now, if you look at the section of problematic users, they do not even need to go to prison because if you look at their use, it is more of a health problem. And that is what civil society in Ghana has always been calling that. If somebody is a problematic user, then the law courts will have to make orders where the person will be asked to access life-saving services such as harm reduction so that that person is given some form of treatment of his problematic use. But to send the person to jail, you have actually not done anything to that person. You've only succeeded in destroying the person's life. And I believe that the Constitution says that health, the right to health is fundamental. And so if somebody is suffering from a problematic use, why should that person's case be different from somebody who let's say, diabetes or hypertension. That person equally needs treatment, and so that avenue should be created.
All right, Maria, I'm sorry, that's what time would allow us for. We're grateful for your time with us. Thanks so much for joining us. Maria Goretti and Luglo is the African consultant of the International Drug Policy Consortium, sharing her views there on the call by the Chief Executive of the Standards Authority. But let's quickly check how countries have been dealing with this and managing the issue of marijuana there. You can see the figures on the screens now. In 2015, Colorado collected more than $135 million in taxes and fees on medical and recreational marijuana. That's how much they made. And you can see that Ghana can also make a lot if we decide to go into it. Now look at the sales in the state. We're told totaled about $996 million. That's how much we can also get if we perhaps we go into something like that. Now, sales in North America grew 30% to $6.7 billion in 2016, and is projected to increase to about $20.1 billion by 2021. That's according to the AgView market research. Now, we're told that there's no tree or plant species on Earth capable of producing as much paper per acre as hemp. That's wonderful, and of course, you know exactly what that means. And within 4 months after it is planted, we're told that hemp can grow 10 to 20 feet tall and is ready for harvesting, sometimes very quicker than even maize. We're also told that hemp can be used to make a variety of commercial, industrial products, including rope, clothes, food, pepper, textiles, plastics, insulation, and biofuel. That's a wonderful plant, I guess, perhaps similar to the palm tree also there. So that's how much we can get if we decide to take the advice from the Chief Executive of Ghana Standards Authority. We'll tell you more about that later on. Let's move on to some other stories. More than 1.2 billion cedis have accrued as interest on the 2.5 billion cedi currently in the temporary pension fund account at the Bank of Ghana. We're told that more than 500 million cedis have also been transferred to both the private and public fund managers to invest for pensioners.
The Deputy Chief Executive of the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, David Abbey, gave the figures at a forum organized by the Health Services Workers Union in Accra. The forum dialogued on what pensioners receive from Senate after retirement. Deliberations focused on how Senate uses wrong data and formula to calculate pensioners' benefits. According to the Health Services Workers Union, investigations reveal that Senate uses less than the required 3 best years of employees' salaries to calculate benefits. The union allegedly indicted Senate for using 18% instead of 42% to calculate pensioners' contributions over the years. The General Secretary of the Health Services Workers Union, Reynolds Ofositenkwine, called for a tripartite committee to resolve these anomalies.
A member of the union retired in December 2016. And his salary at the time of retirement was 1,164 Ghana cedis. But he was paid only 706 cedis, 50 pesos as a lump sum. He is now down with stroke. Who caused it?
The Deputy Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, TUC, Joshua Ansan, urged government to increase salaries for improved pension benefits.
We must begin thinking about having a living wage instead of a minimum wage. It's a living wage that can, if not resolving our problems 80–90%, it will do something more than what the minimum wage is doing now.
A member of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOCSAC, Professor Emmanuel Esiama, asked the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, NPRA, to facilitate the payment of 18 months arrears owed workers under the second tier.
Until the out-of-court settlement in February 2016, the Tier 2 pension was apparently a mirage. Since then, with persistent effort from the forum, the public sector pension scheme have become operational.
The Deputy Chief Executive of NPRA, David Abbey, however, denied the knowledge of any arrears, but said more than 500 million cedis from the temporary pension fund at the Bank of Ghana has been transferred to the appropriate managers.
We have successfully transferred an amount of 555 million belonging to 258,422 employees under 8,116 employers
for private sector workers and public sector workers who do not draw their salaries from Controller and Accountant General Department.
Now let's turn attention to some other issues. The Workers' Union of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has called on the President to consider its petition and act on it. The union petitioned the President last month demanding the immediate removal of the Executive Secretary and also the appointment of a new board. We're told that the executives of the Workers' Union maintain that the tenure of office of the Executive Secretary, Samuel Sapong, from October 2012 to date, as well as the current board headed by Emmanuel Annan, has been disastrous for the Commission. The statement further indicates that attempts to correct the wrongs and injustices that have characterized the Commission have proved futile. My guest in the studio is the Vice Chair of the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission Workers Union, Israel Amenfia. Good afternoon and grateful for your time. Now, the tenure of office, according to you, of these persons has expired. Now, why then won't you wait for the President to remove them?
Thank you very much, my brother. We have actually been waiting for the President to remove them. You'll recall that as far back as February, our issues were rife in the media, and we've been patient. We've been asked after a petition to allow the Bureau for National Investigation, BNI, to go into some of the issues that were there. We allowed the process to take place. We are aware that the report is out, and in the words of the Director for Communications at the Presidency, Eugene he has indicated that such a report is indeed out, has come to their attention, and has been forwarded to the Attorney General for advice. Meanwhile, the institution must run, and it cannot run very well when a docket has been forwarded to the Attorney General on a particular person.
Why can't the institution run? It's been running.
Yes, but it can't run very well.
Because of what?
Because the Chief Executive, in our opinion, does not have the confidence of the staff that should support him. He is not also in the frame of mind to carry out his activities because of the investigations that had gone forth.
I see. So the President's mandate is to appoint and remove them. You think the President is being slow about it?
We wouldn't say the President is being slow about it.
So why are you petitioning him then to remove them if you think it's not being slow?
We have already petitioned the President. This is actually just a rejoinder to some misleading statements out there by the board pertaining to activities that occurred on the 7th of September on the premise of the PURC. We felt that as a union, the board did not put out what was right.
What happened at the premises?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And we are also of the view as a union that in cases like this, when you have an issue at home with your children, they should be able to sit and discuss, but they should not be seen to be out of the institution and throwing jabs at their own children. It doesn't augur.
But you started by locking up the premises first.
They indicated in the statement they issued that all offices were locked nationwide. But
how many were locked?
It was just the head office that was locked.
And you locked them? The union workers locked the offices?
The union takes responsibility for the lockup.
If you had petitioned the President, why did you go ahead and lock the office if the President was going to take a decision?
Because we had an intel that some actions were going to take place, and those actions were not in the interest of the generality of the workers. Mind you, the Secretariat has a lot of numbers other than the board, and the board is a 9-member board. And then the Executive Secretary is a member of the board. The majority of the workforce are the people at the Secretariat. So if decisions are going to be taken and are not in the interest of the majority of the workforce, we would have to do what is right.
Finally, what would you have lost if you have waited for the President to take this decision of removing and replacing the Chief Executive and then putting in place a new board? What would you have lost? What would the company, the union, the Commission would have lost?
We have already lost a lot of credibility. We have already lost a lot of time by waiting for the investigations to go on. If you look at our figures, our operations, there are things required technically of us to do, like churning out annual reports year on year. our operations should cover all water facilities, all electricity facilities. Come and pick up a report and find out if work plans that have been outlined at the commencement of the year have been followed thoroughly. It's because there is no sanity at the place, and it's just for the sake of the fact that the workers of the institution are professional in their business. That is why you still see the institution standing. If it were a place where the union is embodied by people who would want to take one or two physical actions, you wouldn't have argued well for Ghana as a whole. But these are people who are level-headed and professional in their dealings. So you come to the PURC and still open for business. It doesn't rule out the fact that the issues are rife and the grievances are requiring redress.
Israel, I'm grateful for your time with us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Israel Menfia is the first vice chair of the Public Utilities Regulatory Workers Union, talking to me there. We'll follow that up. Now, let's turn attention to Kumasi. Film producers and actors are demonstrating in the Ashanti regional capital, demanding a quick passage of the broadcasting bill to protect the local movie industry. They are also agitating that the influx of telenovelas on TV screens is a worry to the local film industry. The Northern Regional Bureau Chief Kofi Edudumfe is there and has more on the story.
So this very morning, the Film Producers Association of Ghana are hitting the streets. Indeed, these are local stars that entertain the Ghanaian populace. But today, they are saying they are not enthused with some activities happening on the screens. I'm being joined now by the Public Relations Officer of the association for us to understand exactly what the concerns of these film producers are. What is the essence of this demonstration this morning?
Good morning to your viewers. The demonstrations about our film bill is already passed to the art, and we are looking for the LI to come out so that we can get our film authorities, film fund and all that. And also, the main motive of this demonstration is about the broadcasting bill. It should be passed because since we know everybody is operating TV station and all using foreign content, which is not our culture. So we are pleading to the government to pass the broadcasting bill so that we can also get airspace on the TV to promote our culture and our local content.
What is the impact of the use of local content in our movies in your business?
You see, we are Ghanaians. Everybody knows as a Ghanaians, we appreciate our culture so much. Our culture is very rich, so we appreciate. We are not Indian. When you go to India, you can see a woman can marry to a two men, but it is not here in Ghana. So that's why we are pleading to the government that our kids are learning from different cultures. So we're pleading to the government to pass the broadcasting bill so that the TV stations will know their laws to operate their stations.
But most critically, somebody will say that you should also be coming out with certain products or programming that would attract viewership other than discouraging these foreign movies on our screens.
You know, these days some of our producers have produced good content, but we don't get any space on the TV. We have learned so much that we know how to do things this time. But where is the space to put our content? That's why we are pleading to the government that before the TV station was one, only GTV, but these days you can see we have about 200 TV stations. And if all of them produce different cultures, how will we be in the next generation? So that's why we are fighting against this telenovelas, that it should be well arranged on the TV. I mean, the timing is not right, as you know. So we are going to Otumfuo's palace. We are sending our petition to Otumfuo that we have been so many places in the government and the ministry, but nobody minds us. So this is the time we have to go to Otumfuo to plead for us that they should pass our broadcasting bill and also our airline so that we can get a fund to do our work.
Thank you very much, and you can see heavy security presence here to ensure that this act of the movie producers is undertaken under a very peaceful atmosphere. Indeed, almost all the stars are involved in this protest march, and they are petitioning the Asante Hene Otufo Osei the second to intervene on their grievances. My name is Kofi Edudumfe from the Ashanti Regional Capital, Kumasi, where 5-pack members are demonstrating.
Northern Regional Bureau Chief Kofi Edudumfe there. Now, over 800 children of Kwabenya and its environs in Accra have benefited from a free eye and blood pressure screening exercise. The exercise forms part of activities by 3FM in collaboration with the community hospital dubbed 4th Back to School Pediatric Fair in Accra to ensure members are in good health.
The exercise was to enable 3FM and the community hospital fulfill their social responsibilities to the residents of Ashongman, Kwabenya and its environs. Over 800 children benefited from the free medical screening exercise, with an expected 1,000 to be screened by the first day of the program. The exercise involved the checking of blood pressure, waste management exercise, and testing blood sugar levels. Members also had cholesterol levels checked and were also screened for height and weight. The Chief Executive Officer of the Community Hospital, Akwesi Akwa, advised that public health should be a priority to ensure quality health care. He said the team identified high sugar levels among most of the children screened and advised them on the proper dietary requirements. Organizers of 3FM promised to continue to take an interest in healthcare delivery for the community and its members as part of their social responsibility initiative to ensure better healthy lifestyle of the people.
This is Midday live from TV3. We're stepping on the break now. When we come back, we'll tell you what's up in the world of business. Please stay with us if you can.
Well, thanks for staying with us. Still Midday Live. Time for business now. My name is Nanikia Mensah-Brampa. Let's begin from the central bank, as it is to provide a comprehensive corporate governance regulations for the banking industry. The central bank has blamed scandals and collapse of some banks on the lack of corporate governance regulations.
The recent collapse of these two banks brings into focus a poor banking history. Others, including the Cooperative Bank and the Bank for Housing and Construction, have all suggested an industry that has challenges. Good corporate governance ensures a stable financial sector, but this is missing. Though examples of bad corporate governance abound globally, the Bank of Ghana is working hard at restoring effective corporate governance for the Ghanaian banking sector.
The bank will soon release comprehensive corporate governance regulations for the banking industry. This will outline, for example, issues bordering on the tenure of chief executive officers and non-executive directors of banks, the size of bank boards, the retiring age for directors, and disclosure of attendance at board meetings by directors in annual accounts.
A banking consultant, Dr. Richmond Etiahene, blamed poor corporate governance on appointed board members, lack of independence and objectivity due to political affiliation.
Instead of bringing independent people who can objectively, independently critique the board, we bring cronies, either by political affiliation or other by people we know. We expect that the executive, the non-executive directors and independent directors should be able to subject managerial decision to a test of time. Unfortunately, this is not done. So they go to board and we meet bed and so, as the MD was saying, approved.
The head of risk at the National Banking College, Dr. Francis Tasaraku, asked board members to understand the scope and effect of basic regulations.
The Basel sets a minimum criteria that for every 100 cedis, asset that you create, at least 3 cedis should come from your capital. That is a minimum benchmark. And that brings into fore what capital is about. Capital is not largely supposed to expand your business.
Now, inflation for the month of August is 12.3%, up by 0.4%. An increase in petroleum prices due to soaring world market prices have been blamed. But economist Courage Marty says the current climatic changes in the USA won't impact on inflation.
The year-on-year inflation rate for August 2017 was 12.3%. This means that the change in the general price level was 12.3% over the 1 year period from August 2016 to August 2017. And the year-on-year inflation rate for July, that is the previous month, was 11.9%. The monthly change rate for August 2017 was negative 0.2%. This means that the general price level went down by 0.2% between July 2017 and August 2017. The monthly change rate recorded for July 2017 was 0.7%.
To some more news, the Veterinary Services Directorate of the Ministry of Food and Agric has warned the public against buying meat that does not have the stamp of the department. Meat that is wholesome has a stamp which is to ensure the safety of consumers.
The Quality Assurance Meat Inspection Stamping Project began early this year to ensure that wholesome and quality meat is sold to the public and to ward off activities of illegal slaughters. Veterinary Services inspectors have been trained to visit the abattoirs and slaughterhouses to verify that all slaughtered animals are wholesome for public consumption.
We are saying that inspection involves visual examination before you palpate. If you see hematoma, you look at it. If you want to confirm that it is hematoma, then that you have to palpate and those things.
The project, which had been launched already in Takoradi, was launched in Accra at the Jefanko Abattoir in Medina. Veterinary officers from 5 southern regions were given training to assist in its implementation.
We advise all meat sellers that they should make sure that the veterinary part, which is stamped, is the last to be sold. Because anybody who goes to the market in Accra, after the veterinary stamp, if the meat is not having veterinary stamp, it means the meat is from a place which veterinary people are not working. And you buy the meat at your own risk.
You don't just spot a mere stamp on the meat and then you consider it passed or good to be consumed. You look out for certain details that entails in the stamp. And here you see inspected and passed. And then in the middle, you see Veterinary Services, Greater Accra region, and then the name of the abattoir, and in this case, Jefanko Abattoir. He allayed fears ink from the stamp was dangerous for consumption.
This is ink that is edible. It doesn't cause cancer. It doesn't cause any disease. It's very safe. We are for human safety. That is public health. So we cannot give something to human beings when we are fighting that the meat that they are selling to the populace might be good.
Meanwhile, managers of Jefanko say they have taken steps to correct all insanitary conditions at the premises to meet standards. The Quality Assurance Meat Inspection Stamping Project is expected to be implemented in all the 329 slaughterhouses and abattoirs in the country.
Well, we have more news on News 360 tonight. Let's go back to Bright. But Bright, I don't know about the stamp. Can't it be replicated?
It can be done. I know. These guys out there will do anything to sell their product. But we'll tell you more about that and how the veterinary services are ensuring that what you eat is safe. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll tell you why the Black Stars are out of the top 50 rankings of FIFA. Yafosu Labi is joining us soon. Stay with us. And the senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School says Ghana's tourism sector has been under-resourced over the years and needs a boost Dr. Brahma Mahama says the industry needs restructuring to bring out the best it can contribute to national development.
In the latest GIPC report, the tourism sector recorded 0% in foreign development investment in the first half of the year. The GIPC attributed the issue to the repeal of the law that permits it to give incentives to the tourism sector to help in its development. However, a senior marketing lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Mahama Brahma, attributes the challenges in the tourism sector to lack of proper planning and policy making. He says enough resources have not been put into the sector to attract both local and foreign investors. He explains that this has over the years not helped the industry to make significant contributions to revenue in Ghana. Hence, all sectors of the industry should be looked at critically.
Expenditure on tourism is not real expenditure, it's investment. And we shouldn't fear to invest. We just need to invest properly and plan properly, and tourism would pay back hugely for us.
Dr. Brahma maintains even though management of some tourist destinations may be outsourced to the private sector, strategic planning can help turn the sector around. He emphasizes that certain tourism-related activities in Ghana should be used as a platform to introduce peculiar Ghanaian products to the outside world.
You need people who understand what it is to develop a tourist destination without adversely affecting the ecosystem. And you need people to know that after it has been developed, how are we going to be able to expose it? How are we going to be able to market it out to the people, both internal and external? If we make a good job of manifest, if we market it properly, structure it properly, sponsor it properly, that would give us an opening.
He also advised government to put measures in place to make local tourism more attractive.
And that's how we're wrapping up the show for this afternoon. Before we go, the National Identification Authority begins distribution of a Ghana card tomorrow. And on the international front, 106 girls who were captured or kidnapped by Boko Haram will begin school in 2 weeks. My name is Bright Nanamfo. Have a great afternoon and stay right here on TV3. But there is more news on cnews.com and later on News in Brief. Have a good afternoon.